So Israel has declared UN Chief Guterres persona non grata in Israel over his response to the Iranian ballistic missiles attack. More of this, please. This is great to see Israel absolutely justifiably say that the way Guterres has acted, not just in response to this attack, but frankly, throughout the entire Israel war against Hamas and all the genocidal enemies that she faces, to say to him, you know what, we actually do not welcome you in our country, because his role is, at the very least, unconstructive, and the very worst, aiding and really excusing evil. This is what he said. Okay, this is what was the catalyst for Minister Katz saying that he's persona non grata in Israel. Iran fires all these ballistic missiles. Why? Because Israel because they want to get rid of Israel. But the catalyst for it was that Israel gets Nasrallah, which means they can no longer hide behind the Hezbollah and Hamas proxies, and now they're exposed. And so they say, we're going to attack Israel. It was an epic failure. It was a miracle, the fact that the missiles really caused hardly any damage and didn't kill any Israeli. It killed one actually Arab that was from Gaza that was now living in Jenin, I believe. Brilliant. Well done, Iran. So much for free Palestine, eh? But this is what he said in the aftermath of the missiles being lobbed at Israel from Iran. He said, I condemn the broadening of the Middle East conflict with escalation after escalation. This must stop. We absolutely need a ceasefire. No mention whatsoever of Iran and the fact that it's Iran doing that. And Ed Mazik replied, you're a freaking joke, man. Arsen Ostrovsky, coward. You could not even mention Israel. He doesn't mention Israel either, and it's just appalling. The total lack of moral clarity at the UN is it's a joke, and it really shows how actually we're not going to get moral clarity and leadership from the rest of the world. It's actually something for the Jewish people to provide, which really has been their historic destined role for the world, and it's something we need to really come into more as a people. But the report says as follows in Times of Israel, that Foreign Minister Israel Katz announces that he has designated UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres persona non grata, meaning the Portuguese diplomat cannot enter Israel. The Foreign Ministry says the decision is a reaction to Guterres' response after Iran's missile attack last night, in which he failed to mention Iran by name and did not unequivocally condemn its grave aggression. He just said, I condemn the escalation. It's funny. Whenever Israel gets attacked by genocidal, jihadist, hateful enemies, then he'll say, well, you've got to remember this didn't occur in a vacuum, and we have to have diplomacy, and then when Israel responds, it's a terrible escalation. When Israel tries to eliminate these genocidal threats, it's an escalation. So the article continues, Israel Guterres' policies throughout the war have provided backing to terrorists, rapists and murderers from Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis, and now to the mothership of global terror, Iran. In a statement, Katz says that anyone who cannot unequivocally condemn Iran's heinous attack on Israel, as nearly all the countries of the world have done, does not deserve to set foot on Israeli soil. It was not immediately clear if Katz has the authority to bar Guterres from the country, and reports in Hebrew media cite authorities from the Population, Immigration and Border Authority as saying such authority would lie only with the Interior Minister. So I guess we'll have to see what happens with that. But what's clear is that it is the UN is simply not an organization that we can look to for any not even moral clarity, but strategic clarity. And I know Israel's actually reviewing their relationship with UNRWA, given the fact that it looks like many Hamas fighters were on the payroll of UNRWA, that were directly collaborating with UNRWA. The UN simply is not a place of any moral authority. And the two things that Israel, I think, needs to do more of, and is actually the only things that get respected in the Middle East, number one is uncompromising strength. And that's why I like this I really welcomed what they've done with regard to not saying that Guterres is persona non grata, because we need to start showing strength. The road of appeasement and compromise has proven that that approach simply doesn't work. The fact that Israel gave away Gaza, and contrary to popular belief, thinking that we left Gaza and suddenly turned it into this enclosed area that no one could leave, no, we said make it a success. And then Hamas get elected, they turn it into a terror state, they start lobbing rockets over to Israel, start planning terrorism, terrorize their own people, by the way. And 2 years later, Israel doesn't blockade all things going into Gaza. It creates an ability to censor what comes in and out of Gaza for weapons. Sorry, you're saying we can't stop ourselves from having people try to kill us? That's somehow a war crime? And Israel does that 2 years later. So people constantly get the chicken and the egg the wrong way around. It's not that Israel is aggressive and mean and then they just respond with resistance. No. Quite the opposite. There is a hatred simply for Israel or Jews existing, and then when Israel is confronted with such hatred, she has to respond. That's the story. And so, but this approach of compromising, of trying to appease, land for peace, all these things, it doesn't work. It's actually something that the Arab world doesn't respect at all. And so things like this, telling Guterres, you're not welcome here, more of that uncompromising strength, which Israel is so powerful and so unstoppable when she decides that she's going to be unified and be uncompromising in her military and moral clarity and might and strength. And the second thing that's actually respected in the Middle East is people that invoke the name of God. It's funny, it's the two things that perhaps we could be doing a bit more of. Less compromise and invoking the name of God more for our reason for being here, for explaining who we are, why we have the right to be here. That's actually the kind of thing they respect. That's the thing they respect in the Middle East. You know, Netanyahu, when he spoke at the United States Congress, you know what got the best round of applause? When he said, people say we're foreign occupiers. Don't they know this is the land where David and Solomon ruled? Whereas Isaiah prophesied, and he starts listing all these biblical stories, and he got a round of applause, a standing ovation from right and left, Democrat and Republican. Which shows that when we speak basic fundamental truths, things ring true, whether or not people are familiar with academic, secular, Western upbringing or not. They all understand truth, perhaps at a deeper subconscious level. And we should really tap into that. That is the strength that we have that maybe we haven't tapped into enough. But that surely is the call of the hour. That surely is what God is calling of us to do. Because that's the region he put us in. That's the enemies that we face. People that believe in uncompromising strength and only respect that. And respecting people who invoke the name of God. I actually was speaking to a young Muslim who grew up in northern England, and he said our Muslim community is the big thing we hear is that Israel and the Israeli state are a bunch of phonies. They're not the real Jews because they're so secular in the way they talk, and they constantly try to dance to a liberal, secular, Western mindset and morality, and that doesn't sound like the Jews. Now, I'm in no way for 1 second justifying any of their hatred that may exist in those kind of communities and their belief that Israel has no right to be there. Absolutely not justifying that. I'm just telling you what it is that they say, and maybe suggesting to us in a very polite and gracious way that if we spoke with a bit more of a godly voice, I think it may have a big impact. It may actually turn a lot of people who are hostile to Israel and look to Israel and the Jewish people as a source of light and godliness. Because more than this just being a strategic move for us, it represents the very purpose and mission and destiny of the Jewish people. If you've made it so far in this video, I have a request for you. JTV has been having a really big impact in spreading the truth about Israel and creating positive associations with the Jewish people, Judaism, and Israel. We've really grown a lot, particularly in the last year, and we're having a really significant impact, both for Jews and non-Jews. But I really want to take JTV to the next level so we can start to compete with the other big online media beasts that are often peddling anti-Israel content. And the way we're going to do that is to scale even faster. So I'd love to build a team where we have other presenters doing shows like me. Let's start doing documentaries, supplementary content, animated content, etc., etc. And to do that, I'd like to build a bit of a team. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one fundraising day, just one, where we try and build up some funding in order to fund such a team. Now, to do that, it's going to obviously require people to get involved. And I'm wondering if you would consider, if you're watching JTV content and appreciate what we do and want to help partner with us in taking this to the next level and spreading the truth farther and wider than ever before, I wonder if you'd consider partnering with us simply by running a mini page on the fundraiser that we do, where you just reach out to your contacts on that day that we choose to fundraise and see if they'll all chip in. If you'd be up for doing that, of which I would be so grateful, then please click on the Google form link in the video description of this video, where you can simply just put in a few contact details. It'll be a very small commitment, as I say, literally just one day that we'll all agree upon as a collective community. But the impact is going to be so big. There's such strength in numbers. If we all pull together and do this, we can take this to the next level. And as I say, all of us can partner together in bringing and spreading the truth to the whole world. So please do consider clicking on that link, filling in the form, and I'll be in touch very soon to talk about the next steps. Small commitment, but a big impact. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.